I'm going to call the September 12th, 2023 agenda meeting to order. I am present. Councilmember Brennan, Councilmember De La Rada, Councilmember McPartland, Councilmember Moskowitz, Town Attorney Finnan, Seth Goldstein, Elizabeth Greenwood, Janet Wynn, Lieutenant Koshin, Diane Percy, Lieutenant Frenier. What did I say? Diane Percy, Lori Peretti, Laura Robertson, Ray Smith, Matt Yetto. We have resident Leslie Gold and Ted Remsnyder from the Gazette. Before moving on, we wish to respectfully acknowledge that Niskuna is on the traditional lands of the Kanikihaka and the Mahikanac peoples, past and present, and we honor with gratitude the land itself and the peoples who have stewarded this land throughout generations. Okay, let's go ahead and start with the Public Works Committee.
Good evening. Number one is a resolution to appoint a grounds maintenance worker. One of our previous ones that you had resoed has declined the job that I just found out this afternoon. So I'll be asking to appoint two at the end of the month. I had two candidates from all the interviews we did, so I'm just going to put a second name forth. Number two is a resolution to purchase a mower for use on the landfill cap. So we discussed this in committee. It's a different style mower now that we're doing the low mow on top of the landfill cap. So if anybody's kept up to speed in our meetings, Roy came to us with invasive species. We have larger clusters of stuff growing on the landfill cap that we can't allow to have there. So the current mower that we have is PTO driven, and then it converts over to belt driven. Well, we go through belts sometimes within 40 minutes. So it's really expensive. So the next option that we looked at, it's the same style mower. It's a 3 batwing mower, but it's completely gear driven and gearbox driven. So it's designed to handle that type of mowing that we need to do. That is on a contract, a purchasing agent. And we would like to purchase that now so that we can have the landfill cap cleaned up before the end of the season.
Because we were what we're looking to do. Ray and I had a conversation, and we had not previously budgeted for this, so this is not currently in this year's budget. We were planning to include this in next year's budget. However, unfortunately, with the timing of when the mowing needs to happen, it would be better to purchase it now. My recommendation was, if the board was willing to support it, that we purchase it now using fund balance and put it in next year's budget to then return the money as soon as the year turns over from the budgeted amount back into the fund balance. So basically borrowing from ourselves for about 2.5 months in order to be able to get the mower, do the work that needs done, and then put the fund balance back. So otherwise we would have to wait to do the purchase until next year when it is in the budget, and we wouldn't be able to do the purchase and the mowing until the springtime. So those are basically the two options.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions?
I may have missed it. What was the total cost?
20,000.
Yes. Thank you.
But you're also going to be selling a piece of equipment off to offset that, some of the
Correct.
costs, correct?
So we thought that we asked for a trade-in value on the mower that we have. We felt it was a little bit lower because the thing is in really good condition. We thought it was a little lower than what we could get on the auction. So we're going to go that route and sell it at auction. We've done really well with our surplus this year, extremely well. So we'd like to take that route to offset some of the cost.
So are you also seeking a resolution to surplus the old one?
Not quite yet.
Not yet.
Not
Okay.
until we're done. Thank you, though. Number 3 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of a track-style mower to be used in the town's detention basins. So in many discussions with Beth as well, the detention basins, we have in the past subcontracted some of them out to lessen the burden on the guys to mow them. We're out there with hip boots and weed whackers and walk behind bush hogs on steep slopes, very large weeds in the bottom. And so we did a demo of this track mower. I had Matt Yettle come down because me and Matt work a lot together on the detention basins and drainage along with Dan. So the Phragmites weeds, which, is like we have out front and across by the library, it mowed them right down. So the thought is that it will increase the longevity of our detention basins in the long run and be able to keep us, a lot of our detention basins are in residential areas. And when we can't get to them or a super wet year like this, they get shaggy looking and we get a lot of calls from the residents in the neighborhood. Although we do our best to keep them pretty decent looking, they do have a tendency to get bad. So we would like to purchase this and do a newer program to keep even the bottoms clean. It will increase the longevity of the pond, less likely to have to hire a contractor or do it ourselves, dig them all out, redo the whole bottoms of them. Very expensive and time consuming. So the thought is that it will increase the longevity of these detention basins.
How many detention ponds or basins do you think?
There's
you have?
23 in the district, right, Beth?
26.
26.
Thank you.
I'd just like to reiterate what Superintendent Smith said regarding the purchase of the mowers and why they're so important. The landfill cap, because we started doing the low mow initiative, we're seeing new types of plants, invasive species grow. So, in doing this, we need a different type of mower to continue having the low mow initiative, which I think a lot of residents are in support of, and also maintain the landfill cap. And also the detention ponds. Again, we do get residents with questions, calls, concerns about the detention ponds. And it is a safety issue for the employees and also for those residents who live nearby because they could end up having a lot of mosquitoes and just different bugs. And so I'm very much in support of making sure we have these mowers
Thank you.
because our residents expect the areas to be clean, safe, so they can visit them.
And the thought behind that too is we normally send 4 and 5 guys over there, a few weed whackers, walk behind mowers. So this will cut us down to 2 employees, one to run the robotic mower and one to weed whack around the fence. We definitely think it will speed up our productivity in doing that and allow the other employees to be doing the other stuff that we need to do. Any questions? Thank you.
Number 4 is a resolution to authorize outside sewer user agreements for 3 properties on Aqueduct Road. There are 3 existing homes that wish to connect to the new sewer line that was installed a few years ago. Number 5 is a resolution to authorize easement agreements for fences and drainage easements. We have 3 properties, one on Bergen Place, one on Orchard Park Drive, and a third one that's tentative on Torres Road. I'll get all the information to Elena.
I think Bergen Place might also be tentative too, right?
Okay. Number 6 is a resolution to authorize purchase of a pickup truck or trucks for the Water and Sewer Department. We originally had budgeted for as many as 3 trucks, but with the increase in costs we've been seeing in vehicles, it looks like I have enough funding to buy 1 truck. And then hopefully, if towards the end of the year, if I can find some additional money left over in the budget, I can order a second truck. But they went from $35,000 to over $76,000 for the same truck in over the last 3 years or so. This would be piggyback on the Onondaga County bid. And it would be replacing trucks that are, some of them are 15 years old. So we hold on to our fleet for a long time. And even though we've done that and taking very good care of the trucks, we really need to start increasing. I think it's been at least 3 years since we purchased any pickup trucks for the crew. So I'd like to do at least 2 this year if I could, and then possibly as many as 3 next year to try to catch up. 7 is a tentative resolution to appoint maintenance workers in the Water and Sewer Department. I have 2 open positions. We're interviewing, and if I have names prior to the board meeting, we'll move forward. If not, we'll have to go next month for that. This is to fill 2 openings that were created by internal transfers to our water and sewer plants. 8 is a resolution to authorize the 2023 fall residential and commercial utility warrant. 9 is a resolution to authorize a water meter purchasing memorandum of agreement. This is to extend an agreement that we've had in place for a while. It basically allows us to extend the warranty on the water meters that we have in our system, which ends up making the replacement cost half of what we would be buying them off the open market. So definitely want to move forward with this and keep this moving forward. Over the next 3 or 4 years, we will begin replacing water meters in this town because we did it 15 years ago and they have a 15-year warranty and the batteries last 15 years. So I like to get ahead of it and do so many every year so that we're not doing them all in 1 year. This agreement would help save us a ton of money. 10 is a resolution to approve the purchase of 2 touch screens for the belt press at the wastewater treatment plant. Total cost is just over $11,000 for the 2 screens. And 11 is a tentative resolution to award a generator maintenance contract for the biogas generator at the wastewater treatment plant. We haven't maintained a service contract with this one because it was a new generator. Now we're looking to get a service contract. It would, even though the cost will be $10,935, that's spread over 3 years. So it's a little over $3,000 each year. And that's all I have. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Matt. All right, moving on to community programs.
Okay, number 12 is a resolution to hire soccer referees and instructor. It's that time of year again. Fall soccer is in full swing, and we need to hire 4 referees and the instructor to run our very popular pre-K soccer program. We had a wait list, so it's a wonderful program. And number 13 is a resolution to accept donations for the AED program. After the article that was in the paper, we had a resident who reached out to us who also wanted to give a $500 donation. And then last night we found out that the Fire District 1 gave us $2,500 towards the AEDs. So we're on our way.
Excellent.
Excellent.
And what is now the total cost for the AEDs?
Okay, so without the donations, the total cost was $17,963.10. That cost is higher than the other cost because it includes a box that, should there be an incident, someone would call 911. The 911 dispatcher would give you a code. then the box would open up. So that was the increased cost. I think the original quote, when I did the grant application was 14, so now it's 17. And we've received so far 5,000 from the Community Foundation. Mr. and Mrs. Holland gave 500. The leaders were 500 and 2,500 from the Niskuna or Fire District 1. That leaves us with a remaining balance of 9,463. But we're also
Yes.
heard through the grapevine there's additional funds coming in, but I don't feel I should talk about it until it's confirmed.
Yeah, thank you. I think we'll have some good news coming soon.
Does anybody have any questions about that?
Well, really
Just-
more for Jason. So I know you used to work at the dispatch center. So is that something that you've seen before with these codes for these AEDs in like parks and things?
Not locally that I'm aware of. I just learned about this new option recently. Not that I'm aware of, and I do, just from my experience, have some concerns with it that I think we should discuss further. So I think we should do, I'd like to do more research into it, into that option to see exactly what it is and what it entails.
Yeah, I think it's
Um,
good that we need to do that, right?
Yeah.
And I think the path you're on is probably good because these are going to be in unsupervised areas, right?
Yeah,
And parks and
absolutely.
stuff like that. It's not like it's something here at town hall or one of our other facilities or buildings.
Right. I mean, my concern with the box where a 911 operator would have to give a code is if the 911 call didn't come to Schenectady County. So in the outlying parks in our town, Lions Park is close to the town of Colony, so 911 calls from there could potentially go to Colony. Quite frequently, calls from the Zena Road soccer fields go to Saratoga County. So I would be concerned about the delay where if somebody called 911 from Zena Road and that went to Saratoga County, they're asking for the code for the AED, and Saratoga County is going to have no idea what they're referring to. By the time it gets transferred to Schenectady, by the time a UCC dispatcher gets the code, we could potentially be 2, 3, maybe 4 minutes into this. And-
What was the process that we were potentially going to use if not the codes?
So I think the original discussions were to have a key, which was given to residents when they rented the pavilion, which was given to athletic coaches or trainers when they're using the fields. And I have some concerns with that also. I mean, if somebody's on the bike path going through, say, in the area of Zena Road fields, and they need access to that AED but don't have the key, then that equipment wouldn't be available to them, which isn't necessarily the best option. So I definitely think we need to do some more research into the cabinets or the storage is the best option for that.
I've reached out to, we had gotten this additional information from a town in Rhode Island and reached out to them to see if they could give me any input. Hopefully they haven't had to use these, their boxes and that have to use the code, but I'd like to know what kind of research they did and if they have any insight.
I do know in some states, and I don't know if Rhode Island is one of them or not, where every 911 call automatically goes to the state police. So if that were the case here and every 911 call went to, say, Troop G headquarters on Route 7, they would have easy access to that code. Unfortunately, here, that's not the case. Every municipality has their own center.
Right, and you.
For every
you've got,
county at
you know,
least.
Firsthand experience
So,
with all of
right.
that, so your
Right.
knowledge, that's very helpful.
So,
As you said, some calls don't go to Schenectady.
yeah, I mean, frequently calls from Lions Park would go to Colony because
they-
their cell phone towers may be closest to that park.
Right, and if you guys get too busy there or can't answer, it rolls over somewhere else, correct?
Yeah, I think if it's 4 or 5 rings, it rolls to the state police or to Colony also. But not having that code readily available could be a huge possibility, and it would delay use of the machine.
All right, well, hopefully by the time we receive all the funds, we'll have this all hashed out.
Yeah, I have been working hard, as you know, Lori, the last few weeks or so to secure additional funding, and I'm anticipating possibly having the original quote, which was somewhere around 14,000, fully funded by the end of next month.
Wow.
So it sounds like we may need a little bit more, but I think we definitely need to have some discussions about the cabinets and how much more funding is needed. But like I said, that original quote of 14.5 or
Yeah.
somewhere in that
14,
area,
6 something, yeah.
I anticipate possibly having fully funded next month.
So is most of that cost for the box or for the AED?
The AEDs.
The AEDs.
So and the total for all the AEDs comes to 10,245. And then there's software, which is 1742, and then the rest of it is the enclosures, however we decide to.
So they have to be secured somehow, but they have
Right.
to be made available
Yeah.
somehow.
Fortunately, in our parks, and some of them are remote, and there's a high use of vandalism. I mean, we're going to have to find a way to secure them
Right.
somehow, but make them accessible.
Absolutely.
Right.
We need to do both.
Right, exactly.
And I don't think having keys given to specific parties
Mhm.
is the best way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, that, like I said, that was the original discussion, but I definitely think there's a better option
Yeah.
available. It's just a matter of finding what that option is and not delaying care in the meantime.
All right,
Well,
I'll-
thank you for doing the research
You're welcome. I'll keep
and
looking and see if we can
revising
find
the
something else.
budget. Thank you for looking for additional funds, and we're going to keep working towards this goal.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Economic Development, Historic Preservation, and Environmental Conservation Committee.
There's a $5 overpayment at the building department, which the resident wanted to donate, which will also be folded into ED. So Beth said that they could do that. Number 14 is a resolution to combine the Climate Smart Communities Task Force with the Conservation Advisory Council and designating a Climate Smart Communities Coordinator. Elena and I were working this for last month, but we wanted to make sure the logistics would work, and we didn't want to just put the resolution together without actually like talking to both boards and seeing how it was going to work. So we discussed it at CAC for quite a while. What we decided is that it'll be folded right into the CAC meeting, and so it probably makes the most sense to have the chairman of the CAC also be the Climate Smart Communities Coordinator. He didn't ask, I asked him, but that way the meeting is consistent, and like I'll still be tallying all the points for the Climate Smart certification and things like that, but that way we'll have solid minutes for when we're doing our Climate Smart Communities tasks that we can provide to the DEC. And so I think we're there this month. We did need an extra month to do it. Number 15 is a resolution to appoint a member to the Conservation Advisory Council. Richard Frontero expressed interest in the CAC, so we'll have him for that month. I didn't actually ask Elena about this, but we also have new student representatives for the CAC or for Complete Streets. So we may just put those all in one resolution. Our amazing student representative for Complete Streets, Elise Corbin, is gone to college now, and she's really going to miss her. She was amazing, but she found 2 other high school students that were really into Complete Streets and wanted to start coming to our meetings. 16 is a non-binding resolution to recognize and support the Quiet Niskayuna initiative. This one just came in too late last month too, but shouldn't have any problems going forward this month. And 17 is a resolution to award a contract for a greenhouse gas inventory and government climate action plan, RFP for Niskayuna's Climate Smart grant with New York State DEC. That's our $50,000 Climate Smart grant. It's been out there for a while. I'm going to try really hard to get it in time, but it's going to be super close, so that may end up needing to go to next month. But if I can do it, I will do it. And then 18 is good news. The Conservation Advisory Council, kind of working as the Climate Smart Communities Task Force. Ashok Ramasubramanian and the supervisor and a couple other people put together the Natural Resources Inventory Grant to the DEC, and it was awarded. They had a lovely ceremony at the Mohawk River Park in Coligny, where Ashok was able to attend and speak with the lieutenant governor about how excited he was about the whole project. So that's very cool. It's a $13,500 DEC grant with a $1,500 town match. And we are trying to inventory between 10 and 15 natural parcels within the town of Niskayuna. Any questions on those?
Thank you. All right, Police and Public Safety Committee with Lieutenant Frenier. See, what happened was I was reading my notes and while looking at you.
No worries. How's everyone doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks. All right, resolution 19 is a tentative resolution to appoint a police officer. The department, we're still working through the process with the candidate that we're looking at. Number 20 is a tentative resolution to appoint a police sergeant. Again, we're still working through the process for that. 21 is a resolution to permanently appoint a police officer. This is Officer Heather Doust. She's completing her probation this month, so we're looking to move forward with that. 22 is a resolution to amend the town code regarding the placement of 2 new stop signs in the town of Niskayuna and the removal of the yield sign. The first stop sign is Becker Street at North Allendale, putting a stop sign there. The second stop sign is Wyoming Ave at Baker Ave, which also will replace the current existing yield sign at that intersection. Number 23 is a resolution to accept the donation of a grill from Lowe's. Lowe's management and loss prevention reached out to the chief 3 weeks ago or more, inquiring if we'd be willing to accept a donation from them for a gas barbecue grill. So they dropped that off, and that's what that's for. And there's an additional resolution authorizing the town supervisor to enter into an opt-in agreement with the bus patrol and the Niskayuna Central School District. This is the final agreement to begin the installation and implementation of our program with the school district.
Do you want me to speak to that? Okay. So as the board is aware, we enacted the local law and then we entered into the agreement with Bus Patrol, but we needed the school district to opt in as well. And they're requiring, Bus Patrol's requiring that the town also sign that agreement. So before the school district reviewed it and voted on it, I believe they voted on it on September 5th, if I remember correctly. But before they did that, I reviewed it and had requested some changes. So it's in its final form that I've okayed and signed off on. And so everybody should be happy at this point, and that's the last step before we can begin the implementation.
Great news. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the police department.
Just to
Thank
be-
you to the town attorney.
Just to be clear about the
Just
grill, that
clear.
the police department uses that for their community outreach
Yeah,
program. They
Yes,
go out into neighborhoods and apartment complexes and for community outreach. That's what they do with the grill.
yes, that's correct, sir.
But we might also have an employee appreciation grilling barbecue cookout situation coming up here soon as well. Ted, you can come too, okay? All right.
And then I
I just-
actually have an additional add-on, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I just have one question, Lieutenant. Going back to 19, the resolution to appoint a police officer, you are processing a candidate currently?
We're currently working through the process. If
Do you know if is it a lateral or off the civil service list?
you'd have to ask the chief
Okay.
for that. I can't speak to that.
Okay.
And then can I add on?
Yes.
So it was just an oversight, but the Mohawk Hudson River Marathon Group is having their race on October 8th, and we typically do a license agreement with them. So I will ask that that be also on for the end of the month so that they can be set to go in October.
And I am not running the marathon this year. Let's be clear. I'm just simply too busy, tapped out, no time. Next year. All right. Thank you.
That's
Thank
all.
you, Lieutenant Friendly. I appreciate it. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right. Moving on to Finance and General Government Committee.
All right. The first item is a resolution to call for a public hearing regarding the consolidation of drainage districts and storm sewers within the town. The second is a resolution authorizing the budgetary modifications. The next is a resolution to surplus the non-working scanner from the planning department. And finally, a resolution to set the meal reimbursement rates for town officials and employees.
Any questions? All right. Thank you. That looks like all we have for tonight's agenda. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. We stand adjourned. Thank you.